Hey everyone, my name is Sean and welcome to round 2 of the locals this week at AGO in Luton. Today we have Seb playing against Chris. Seb is going to be playing Striker Orcust and Chris is going to be playing Sky Strikers. Seb is a member of Team Heritage and has managed to secure several tops both this season and last season. And he also took Orcust to Euros this year. Whereas Chris has been playing Sky Strikers. We talked about Chris before in the past. He's been playing Sky Strikers most of the year too, so both players very familiar with each other's decks and both their own decks here. So Chris is starting off with setting free and pass. That's not really a good opening for a striker player, not kind of what they want to see, and I feel like this has happened almost every single time we've recorded and seen Chris play on the channel so far. The striker player really wants to kind of get their edging going, and setting free and pass is just not going to do it there. Seb is able to bait out Chris's Ash Blossom using Orchestrated Return, which is going to allow him to use Armageddon Knight's normal summon effect in order to send Heart Power to the graveyard. And just with this move alone, he now has started his Orcust combo, and this is what Orcust do. Orcust have so many different ways of just starting their combos and getting stuff into the grave. Now, as long as Nightmare or Heart Horror hit the field or the graveyard through whatever different means of play that you want to go for, they're going to be able to get their engine going. And the heart and soul of their engine is Galatea, who has a toolbox variety of effects where she can shuffle in any Orcust card from the managed power into the grave, back into the deck, and set a variety of cards. First, Seb here is going to play Orcust Nightmare effect, which is effectively going to Foolish Burial another Orcust card from his deck to the graveyard, and he chooses Symbol Skeleton, which has a Monster Reborn style effect. Now, Seb has World 1 in the grave, and he also has Symbol Skeleton in the grave, and he's probably trying to consider what kind of cards Chris is going to have in order to kind of stop him from playing here. So he's having a look at his managed power, and he's going to use Galatea's effect, target Heart Horror to shuffle it back into his deck. And now he has a choice of 3 cards. He can either go for Orchestrated Babble, which is the Orcust field spell card that turns all their monster effects into quick effects. Really powerful card. He could go for Orchestrated Return, which lets him send a World Legacy or an Orcust card from the hand or field to the graveyard to draw 2. Or he could go for this card here, Orchestrated Crescendo, which is an Omni Negate. It can negate monster effects, spell effects, and trap effects. And also banish the cards as well while he has a Orcust Leap monster on the field. So it's going to be a solid answer to anything that Chris wants to do in the follow-up turn here. Seb now uses World Legacy World 1's effect to special summon an Orcust monster from his managed power to the field, and Seb is going to respond with There Can Be Only One. There Can Be Only One is a really solid answer to Orcust at the moment. It's also a solid answer to Salamand Greats, and if a player cannot find a way to get rid of it or to remove it from the field, they will really struggle to kind of effectively continue their engines and play around it. That being said, There Could Be Only One has been in circulation for, I want to say, almost half the year here. It's been used in stun decks as well as more control based decks, not less control based deck, but more control based decks. I'll go with that. So a lot of players should know how to play around There Can Be Only One here, and I feel like both players will have many answers in order to deal with There Can Be Only One at a moment's notice here. So it was enough to stop Seb for one turn, and Chris, going back to his turn here, seems to have only just gone for setting 1 and pass. This is really what you don't want to see for a striker player here. He really needed to use that turn to kind of just get into his striker engine. Find one of those engages, find a Ray, find a Hornet Drone, find something to kind of just get his engine going off the ground there. But sadly, he just didn't draw into anything here. He did manage to banish Seb's Orcust Crescendo, which is nice, so the Omni Negate threat is gone. But Seb is going to continue playing here, and he starts off with using Galatea's effect to shuffle back in. I believe it was an Orcust Nightmare he shuffled back in, and or if that's Nightmare now, I think that's Nightmare there. I'm not sure what he shuffled back in, but he shuffled something back in to set a copy of Orcust Return, and then he attacked directly with Galatea for 1800 damage. And now in main phase 2, he's going to use Orchestrated Return to send Galatea to the graveyard and draw 2 cards, and he's just going to keep on digging through his deck, trying to find answers to the current situation that or the current field that Chris has built up here. He then uses Symbol Skeleton's effect to effectively Monster Reborn back the Galatea so it can keep his field live, and now he's going to play a Lure of Darkness, banishing DD Crow, and this is just what Orcust do so well. They just have so many ways of recurring and looping their resources. They utilize the Banish pile, the Graveyard, and the main deck like probably the best in the game right now. Probably the Salamangreats coming up as a close second, although Salamangreats don't really use the Banish pile. They banish cards, but they don't really utilize it. Orcust are just so powerful, and they have so many options and so many ways of digging through their own deck. And again, sadly for Chris, he has drawn one and passed. He is just getting no starters today, and this kind of makes me want to go and try a Striker build myself, because Striker players have started to switch to a more trap-based version of the deck once the card Widow Anchor got limited to 1 back in October. However, this is 3 times I've seen Chris play now, and almost every single time he started off with set 3 or set 4 and pass, and it just kind of hasn't worked out for him here. Seb just normal summon Mathematician. He didn't use the effect, but Chris responded with Compulsory Evacuation Device, realizing that by having 2 monsters of different types on the field, Seb could very much easily go into his extra deck to find a way to deal with their community one, like Nightmare Phoenix. So he didn't want to give Seb that opportunity and decided to use Compulsory Evacuation Device instead. I almost wonder if Solemn Strike would be a better deck place for than Compulsory Evacuation Device in this build, because I feel like it would do the same thing but has more variety of applications for this deck. But that being said, it's still not helping advance Chris's game state so much, so maybe having trap cards in the deck is not the right answer whatsoever. Seb, after having Mathematician return, he's going to use Galatea's effect. I don't know what he shuffled in Symbol Skeleton, and then he's going to go and search out Orcust Babble, which is now going to turn all his Orcust effects into quick effects, meaning he can use them in either player's turn and in response to other effects, which is really, really good. He then tries to activate Foolish Burial, but Chris responds with the Ash Blossom, and Seb is now going to look at his hand here, and he's going to attack for 1800. This should put Chris down to, I think it's about his half-life, maybe more than half-life. Either way, this turn Chris really needs to get something started here, and he manages to draw into Area 0. Now Area 0 could be really good here, because it allows him to pick the top 3 cards of his deck up, and if he has a Sky Striker card there, he can add it to the hand. And fortunately, Chris was able to get a Sky Striker Ace Array. This is going to send the card that he targeted to the graveyard, and which is a Metamorphose Fusion. Pretty nice, because Metamorphose Fusion can allow him to dig through his deck more with his Upstart Goblin-like effect by shuffling it back into the deck and then drawing one. But before, as soon as Chris has decided to resolve the effect of Area 0, Seb has decided to go for a DD Crow, and he's going to banish off that Metamorphose Fusion to kind of slow down any momentum that Chris is able to build this turn here. Chris doesn't really have a lot of options right now. All he's going to be able to do is normal summon the Ray, and he's probably going to make a Hayate, which will allow him to attack directly, but Seb responds in kind with Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, and I'm going to call it now. This is a game-winning position for Seb. With Galatea on board and Phantasme on board, it's not going to really be too hard for him to kind of do enough damage in the next turn or so for to win the game. Even if he wasn't to go to his extra deck for to get rid of Chris's back row, he has so many options right now that I don't really see Chris being able to mount a comeback. 3 turns of pretty much just passing is not gonna really be able to find a way to kind of snowball back. He will have to get incredibly lucky. He just used Hayate's effect to send an Area 0 to the graveyard, but he's not going to be able to further his plays because he's also stuck under their community one, so he cannot go into his toolbox of links, which would have been really nice if he could have gone to Suzuku so that he could then search out Engage. And Seb now has the ability to go for a Link 2 or a Link 3 on board, so I'm going to assume that his next play is going to be getting rid of their community one and then probably summoning out a bunch of monsters in order to kind of swing for game here. He's having a look at his graveyard here, and Chris is going to scoop it up and end the turn just there. Seb, yeah, it was really a bad, unfortunate situation for Chris. Seb was just showing that he was going to be able to go into Trespania and then use Shark Cannon in order to trigger its effect to banish all spells and trap cards on the field and burn Chris for 500 for each one, which would have done a lot of damage, pretty much, if not game-winning damage there. Yeah, Orcust just doing what Orcust do. It is one of the most consistent decks of the game so far, and I really truly think that consistency is key in this current format. So we're going to go into round 2 here. Chris is going to choose to go first again this time, and this time he starts off with Area 0. Let's hope he can get a better opening play than last time. So Area 0 is going to target the face down card, and Seb is decided whether he wants to respond. We can see he has an Ash Blossom in hand here. He could choose to Ash it, the Area 0, to stop him from searching, but he decides not to. He decides against that, and Chris is going to reveal the top 3 cards and pick up a copy of Sky Striker Hornet Drones. Now he's going to send Foolish Bearer Goods to the graveyard as the cost for the effect, kind of, quote unquote, not really the cost, it's just part of the effect, but this already is a lot better than Chris's previous opening hand here. So Chris is going to now activate Hornet Drones, and it's going to give him a Sky Striker Ace token, and then this will allow him to get out a Sky Striker Link. Now this isn't really the most ideal way to start. Hornet Drones is good. Hornet Drones is a really good way to kind of open up with. I almost would have been tempted to kind of go back and get the Hornet Drones back, because he hasn't got a way to go to Ray right now. But instead he went for Shizuku, and Seb is going to immediately answer with the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, meaning Chris will not be able to search out that crucial Sky Striker Ace engage. And now Seb chooses to open up with Twin Twister, discarding a Gizmek, and that's going to destroy both Chris's back row. And really, now Chris is wide open for Seb to do anything he really wants to do here. He's first going to play Allure of Darkness, draw in 2, and he's going to have to banish 1 dark. I think he just drew another copy of Allure of Darkness there, so he's going to get to play that again. So what you're going to see at the time being is going to be a lot of hand fixing. He's going to go for whatever is the best card for the situation, and he decides to banish the Symbol Skeleton. And now he plays Allure of Darkness again, draw 2, and I believe Seb just drew that Sky Striker Engage on his own side, banishing the Phantasmic, and there is the Engage. This is going to be really unfortunate for Chris, because Seb is now going to just snowball out of control and gain so much advantage for his resources. So he just went +1 from the Engage, and then is going to be able to steal that Shizuku and link it off into Kagari, which is then going to be able to recycle the Engage from the graveyard and add it back to his hand. And then he's going to be able to play Engage again, which will let him search his deck out for another Sky Striker card. Most likely going to be a Hornet Drones or Shark Cannon. Yeah, Shark Cannon's a good option. Just going to let him do Shark Cannon will let him miss this place. He could go for Hornet. He's trying to decide whether he goes for Hornet Drones or the Shark Cannon. I think the Hornet Drones is a solid play here. He's already got the Link Monster out, so he goes for the Hornet Drones here, shuffles his deck up a bit, and then because he has 3 or more spells in the grave, he gets to draw an extra card here. So now he's gone, well, is that +2, I guess? Yeah, +2 of Engage, and this is really bad, unfortunate for Chris. Now Seb normal summons Harp Horror. He's going to go for Galatea. He's going to have a read of Shizuku to make sure there's no restrictions. So before summoning it out with Sky Striker Shark Cannon, and Shark Cannon is going to bring it to the field. So he has a Link 2 and a Link 1, so he can go for a Link 3 play. Harp Horror is going to banish itself in order to summon out Symbol Skeleton from the deck. Now Seb has a way to go for a Link 4 play. More than likely it's going to be a Borrow Sword, because Borrow Sword is going to be able to attack the game. And then he uses Symbol Skeleton to bring back Galatea. Galatea is going to overlay Dingirsu. Dingirsu is going to attach something from the Banish Pile. Chris is already picking it up. He's seen enough. He knows that on board there's more than 8,600 damage on board, because Borrow Sword can attack twice per turn. And then Seb's just showing off here. He's just going to show that he can have done Gizmek as well. And that's it. That's the end of the round. A very one-sided win there from Seb with Orcust Striker. Orcust Striker is right now. and it's incredibly consistent. It's just very, very strong at what it does. But good game to both players. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in a day or two for round 3.